Welcome to our 10 Weather Impact Show. I'm Dylan Robichaud. We have Jay Plyburn here. And man, we can finally take a deep breath after some of the severe weather that we had this weekend. We dodged a bit of a bullet here in the metro, but areas to the east had a lot of severe storms.
Dodged a bullet, but we still got some rain. I heard some thunder out there. And that was in addition to a nice warm mix of spring-like conditions.
Kind of why right now the seasons are kind of clashing with one another. So we had the cold. Now things are going to be warming up quite a bit.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, by the way.
Happy St. Patty's Day, by the way.
Little holiday being celebrated today.
Exactly, here on this Monday, if you're trying to get out and about today. Should be drying up, but we'll begin right now with a look at the storm reports here. And like I said, in central and western Ohio, we kind of dodged a bullet, but here's I-71 right here. There's Columbus, by the way. Man, take a look at Pennsylvania and upstate New York, West Virginia. I mean, these are mostly wind reports, not a single tornado report, I might add, which is actually pretty good. But I want to zoom in here to the west of Cambridge out towards Zanesville out along I-70. Take a look at this right here. Yesterday at 12:01 p.m., we had a wind up to 76 miles per hour. To kind of put that in perspective for you, that is the equivalent to a Category 1 hurricane, all right? So there's no tornado, but there doesn't have to be a tornado to cause the roof on your home to come up. You know, it's like straight line winds will do it, 76 miles per hour. I mean, that is no joke, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's recap the rain so far. For the month of March, we've had just over an inch. By the way, most of that came this weekend, and we are running a little bit of a deficit here by about 3/4 of an inch so far for the month. Now, as we head towards spring, we're kind of teetering above average as we head towards March and April and May. We get more thunderstorms, and so the average monthly rainfall actually goes up as we head towards spring and early summer. Our annual average rainfall is like 41.5 inches, and we get a lot of that in the spring and summer because we get more severe weather. It's really as simple as that. Now, as we move forward this weekend, or it's not the weekend anymore, this Monday, a lot colder out there, okay? Temperatures today only in the 40s. It's only for one day, though, because we warm up heading into your Tuesday. Grab a jacket, though, this afternoon, because especially when you factor in that breeze, it might even feel even colder, like the upper end of the 30s. Now, as we look at daytime highs, up here in Bucyrus, much colder at 44. Down towards Ross and Pike counties, though, we're going upper 40s to around 50. And pretty much temperatures will be uniform as we head into this afternoon. Now, as we head towards this evening, we go from the 40s. We're at 47 here by around 5 o'clock, and then the temperatures start kind of teetering back down to the 30s as we head past midnight tonight. Like I said, though, we do kind of warm things up quite a bit heading into tomorrow. We do have some high thin clouds moving in this evening, but as we head towards tomorrow, we get a beautiful day. Folks, your Tuesday, it's just going to be so lovely out there. Heading into Tuesday night, we get a few high thin clouds rolling into the region, but that's pretty much it. Your Monday, your Tuesday, your Wednesday, what is that, 3 days in a row? Dry, no issues out there whatsoever. So today we're going to be looking at a mostly sunny afternoon. I know today waking up we had the clouds, but this is what it's going to look like here at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Rain. Okay, I want to talk about this right here because we have not one, we actually have two storms on the way. This is brand new model information that we got within the last 2 hours here, and we've kind of narrowed it down to two systems that we're tracking. One of them comes on through Thursday, and by the way, that 40%, that is very early Thursday morning. We're talking before the sun even comes up. And then storm number 2, this might be a little bit more strong, but Saturday up to a 60% chance of rain. Sunday, heading into the later half of the weekend, we catch a bit of a break as conditions improve a bit. And then next week looks pretty soggy as we're going to have multiple opportunities for rain moving into the picture. So yesterday's storm, that now is moving out to sea. Today, tomorrow, heading into Wednesday, we don't really have a whole lot that we're tracking out here. And then take a look at this right here. So as we head towards Wednesday, now look off to the west. What time is that? 5:30 on your Thursday morning. Got a fast mover cold front here moving on in. Previously, we mentioned the possibility of some snowflakes here on Thursday. I just don't see the timing of the cold air and the rain kind of lining up for that to happen. But you'll notice that out towards Illinois, the blue on the map, that is snow that they're going to be tracking out there. It's not going to make it to the Buckeye State, but you can expect some rain heading into Thursday morning. That's out of here, though, by 5 p.m. on Thursday. Heading into Thursday afternoon, we're looking pretty nice out there. All right, let's move forward even more. Talk about the end of the month of March. We are above average here in the temperature department, and we are above average in the rainfall department. You'll notice that there's going to be a lot of clouds and shower opportunities on the 7-day forecast as well, but above average from Maine down to Florida, out towards the Midwest, and down to the Tennessee Valley. And this goes through March 28th. So now at this point, we're knocking on the door of near April that we're going to be looking at that above average rainfall. Spring is in the air, 3 days and counting. Thursday, 5:01 in the morning. What exactly happens at 5:01 in the morning on Thursday? So at that point in time, that is when the sun is going to be pointed directly at the equator. That is 0 degrees latitude. So that's exactly at the midpoint between the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. And so at that point, we're going to be looking at the sun giving us roughly 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of darkness for the entire globe. That only happens twice a year. Happens on the first day of spring, and it happens on the first day of fall. And we're still gaining about 2.5 minutes of daylight every single day. Let's go ahead and recap your winter, though, because now we're coming out of meteorological winter, going into springtime. Look at December. It was actually a pretty mild month. We were above average 18 out of 31 days. So if you summarize every day, we were about 2.5 degrees above average for the month. January was actually very cold. If you recall, we had that polar vortex. 9 out of 31 days were actually above normal. So more than half the month was colder than average. And take a look at that, okay? We'll round up and say -6 degrees from normal. If you're plus or minus 2 degrees, that's quite a bit. This was -6. So January was a very cold month. February was slightly below average, which is actually much closer to normal for what you would expect. But now as we're kind of turning the page and heading into the month of March, towards the end of March, pretty soon within the next few weeks, we start getting some of those leaves that start to come out. In this color right here, typically we start kind of greening up by the end of the month of March. But notice that we go from like that lightest bluish shaded color to the purple here, and that would be April. So first week of April, which is in about 2 to 3 weeks, that's when we start to kind of green things up here. But of course, you could plus or minus that a week or two. If you get some very warm days, which we're tracking, we might push this up by a week. And maybe by the end of March, we start getting some leaves popping out. So we'll see exactly how that kind of plays out. All right, let's get a look right now at the 7-day forecast. Thursday, again, first day of spring, heading into Saturday. We are tracking another system on the move. This is going to be a very quick mover, but as we head towards Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, across the southern Ohio Valley into the Tennessee Valley, some showers. Unlike this past weekend, though, we get at least one dry day. Saturday showers. By Sunday, I think we kind of mosey right along and things improve quite a bit. We'll be looking at temperatures warming up to around 58 degrees heading into Sunday. Should be much nicer out there. So again, 2 storms, one on Thursday, another one here on Saturday.
Above average in the Buckeye State, but I think it's safe to say don't put the cold weather clothes away just yet because there are no guarantees we're going to stay in that spring-like weather zone.
And we're still going to have a couple of those chilly mornings. So either way you swing it, we'll be on the cold side.
It is still March, so.
Exactly.
In time.
All right, time now to switch gears and get a look at weather trivia for today.
My favorite.
Today we're talking about severe weather because we are moving into Severe Weather Awareness Week. And today's question is, tornadoes are based on what scale? The Enhanced Fujita scale, the Saffir-Simpson scale, the Richter scale, or the KP index scale?
Richter scale is used for earthquakes, I believe. I'm going to go with KP index scale.
Want to rethink that?
I guess so. I've never heard of the other two. How about, EF, Enhanced Fujita scale.
Yes,
there
all
it
right,
was.
all
I
right.
had to work through it there.
Absolutely.
That's what the EF stands for, okay.
Yep, so that's going to be your estimating winds by looking at damage. So the KP index scale, for reference, that is for the northern lights. Richter scale would be earthquakes. Saffir-Simpson scale, that would be looking at hurricanes.
Oh, cool.
All right, so let's go in a little bit more in depth here and take a look at this. So let's try to understand exactly how the scale works. So as we look at EF0, again, we're talking winds up to 86 miles per hour. At this point, you're getting some light damage. EF1, though, you're talking winds up to 110 miles per hour. At this point, 110 mile per hour winds, depending on how strong or how weak your structure is, you could be ripping tiles off your house, causing roof damage. For sure, down trees, down power lines. And now we're talking EF2, okay? Now we're starting to get into more considerable damage. We're talking damage to your home. EF3, at this point, that's enough to destroy the roofs of your home, like actually uplift it. And then once you get even worse, EF4, when you get into EF4, EF5 territory, that's when you're actually able to have strong enough winds that you can literally get everything ripped away except for the foundation. So as we're talking EF5, we're talking winds over 200 miles per hour. 200 miles per hour, that is definitely enough to really destroy anything in its path. And at this point, you're left with just the foundation, bricks and, concrete and whatnot. But yeah, definitely devastating stuff. Luckily, so far, we haven't seen any tornadoes in the state this year. We kind of dodged a bullet yesterday, but as we're looking at Severe Weather Awareness Week, of course, we're getting into that time of the year where they will become more frequent.
Yeah, almost impossible that we would go the entire year without seeing tornadoes.
Right.
It's coming at some point. Just be prepared.
Exactly. Well, that will do it for us here on 10 TV Plus. Jerry Martz will have your forecast tonight on 10 TV News starting right at 6.